right, let's kick it off.
Away we go. We should have music for this auspicious occasion, first one
A-
of the year.
Absolutely. So take it away, Vicky. You're full of talent, so you can sing us the
Thanks, thanks.
song. All
Where's that
right.
bus? Oh, here it
Yep.
comes.
Yeah, everybody's here. Welcome, ladies and gents. It is the first Hodlnots Happy Hour Hangout of the year 2026, and in this new quarterly format. Yeah, wow, look at this background. Look what's going on. A new look, new fresh starts. Hello, Marcel. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Vicky. Welcome back, guys.
Hey everyone, welcome
Hello.
back.
Hello, everybody. Good to
Feels like
see you.
ages.
It
Yeah.
does. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Looking very, very sharp. And yeah, look at those people lining up, coming and joining us. It has been a while since we've done one of these, but we're very excited to begin jumping into this new format and looking at some of the questions and stuff we're going to be looking at. Yeah, guys, thoughts on it feels like we haven't chatted in like 3 months, but thoughts on the markets. Let's start with Vicky. What are your thoughts on the market currently the last 3 months?
Well, if you've heard any of our calls, I am very, very trade what you see at the moment. So that's our new rally, our war cry, trade what you see. Because at the moment, gone are the days jumping into things, hoping because Bitcoin is going up, down, up, down, up, down in this channel. So, we're going to be waiting to see what it does. And to be honest, we found that a lot of coins don't care what Bitcoin's doing.
Mm.
So we're trading what we see, and that brings up a good question: is Bitcoin still king?
Ooh.
Basically, is everything trending to Bitcoin still, or are
Mm.
altcoins and the utility chains going their own way, and will they start to dominate?
Mhm.
So
Ooh.
because we're seeing Bitcoin is breaking away a little bit, what does everyone think about that?
Yeah, that's definitely a question I think we should come back to. I just want to get everyone's sentiments quick,
Mm,
because yeah, that is something was definitely
mm.
going to be covered. Wendy, your thoughts the last 3 months on the market?
Oh, it's the same. Absolutely the same. I mean, some coins are, and this the weird new coins, the
Mm.
the coins that have names that you don't even want to say. It's like there are some coins I won't trade because of the name. It's crazy, but they're running. There are coins that are still running with Bitcoin. They follow the same pattern, but again, it's like you said, not as many, and some are venturing off and doing different things. And you've got a lot of wiki coins too. And it's making the market a little bit more difficult for everybody. But again, lots of ways to trade. So
Mhm.
I agree
Absolutely.
with that.
Mm. For sure. No, not the same market sentiment. Welcome, Morris, as well. Great to have you on the call. Badger, your thoughts the last 3 months on the market?
I think it was a lot of over promising and under delivering. That's what I think. Um,
That's a really good one, Marcel.
That is
Yes.
so true. Yeah.
I've I've been obviously keeping an eye on the charts, and every time I think, okay, this is it.
hmm
Here we go.
hmm
It just fizzled out. I don't know.
False start after false start, eh?
Yeah. So
Yeah. All right.
I'll
Good.
believe it when I see it. So that ties in with
Hmm.
what Vicky said. Trade what you see. I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
well from a scalping perspective,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, obviously it doesn't help that there's a lot of geopolitical events happening. But yeah, it's right now it's you literally have to trade what you see, because we can't really anticipate too much. There's a lot of hope and cautious optimism, obviously. I mean, Bitcoin currently sitting at 71,300, looking to test again that 74, 75,000 range. It's starting to look a lot better on the charts, on the day chart, if I'm looking at this correctly. But Marius, great to have you here. If you can spare a few minutes, a few thoughts. What are your thoughts around the market the last 3 months or so, sir?
Well, it's kind of like the South African rugby team, the Bokke, you know, playing, let's say, against Germany, for example, and Germany is winning. So I mean, we're not getting anywhere. It's just a crazy market. But look at this, John. Remember, I'm going to say this that if I look at the previous 3 bull cycles,
Mm,
think about this for a second and slow time down a little bit.
mm,
Every bull market started exactly what's going on right now, but
mm.
much slower.
Yeah.
In 2017 or 16, when that bull cycle started, remember how quick it was. We started this business in 2016, 10 years ago in June.
Mm,
When I got into cryptos, and man, it was like a madhouse. Everything just ran. It doesn't matter what you bought, everything ran. And it
sure.
was so quick. 2017 at the top. In 2018, the cycle came down to the bottom in 2018, 19. And remember how quick it turned around? We weren't, you couldn't even finish a cup of coffee and boom, the market started again next bull cycle. And then in 2022, remember how quick the bull cycle started? But remember this now, and I think everybody forgets. The bull cycle started exactly what's happening now, but 10 times slower. All the coins started, they stopped. They ran, they stopped. They ran, they stopped. But
Mm,
at one point, what's going to happen is everything is just going to break to the upside. And I
mm,
don't expect the bull cycle to run really quick, like in 16, like
mm.
in 19 or 2020. I think it's going to be a slower bull cycle, but it's going to last for about a year and a half, and
Okay.
everybody's going to make money. But
Okay.
keep in mind that we are still making 30, 40, 50% out of certain coins.
Sure.
But this
Absolutely.
is exactly, John,
Mm,
how the bull cycles start. Look at
yeah.
every single coin in the world. You can clearly see there's like a one, two, three double bottom, a triple
Okay.
bottom. It
Okay.
could be on an angle to the downside, it could be horizontal, but every coin on the 7 day, you can clearly see that. Now,
Yeah,
I
for
have
sure.
never heard about a triple bottom
Yes.
4 times,
Yeah.
triple bottom.
Or quadruple. Yeah, there we
It's
go.
not a word like that, but yeah, a
It's
quadruple bottom. Over to you.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been talking about in the Hodlnots weekly warm-ups with some of the reports. 38% of altcoins are at their all-time low. And what was interesting was a story from Monday where Anthony Scaramucci, who's with he was the communications director at the White House for a short time, but he's been with Skybridge for a while, and he was saying that we're coming towards the end of the bear cycle, the bear market, and much like in November 2022 and then into the early 2023 when things started shifting around. And he's seeing that potentially again, towards the end of the year, we might start to see that again. So maybe it would play out like that, Morris. But at the moment, the market, like Vicky said as well, kind of sideways. So it will be interesting. And there are plenty of ways to take some profits, make some profits. Obviously, long term is going to play out a little longer. Time, like you said, time is slowing down quite a bit. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunity along the way. But the concern is, and I want everybody's opinion on this, is with more and more crypto tokens and currencies coming into the market. I mean, something like just shy of 40 million different tokens. Back in 2023, there was about 7 to 8 million of them. Now the liquidity is spreading even more thinly, and especially with liquidity exiting the market. Do you guys think we're going to see the altcoin runs like we used to? Because with more and more meme coins and other coins coming to the fore, do you guys think that we're gonna see these big runs like we used to with really good liquidity, or is it gonna be big runs with less
Mm.
liquidity? What are you guys' thoughts? Badger.
Can I tell you what I hope happens?
Mm.
That's
Sure.
Um,
better. That's better.
I'm hoping for a nice altcoin run. I'm really holding thumbs for that. I think that's what we need to just get this just get the in the gears back into crypto. So for the South Africans, they'll understand it. So just
Yeah.
to get the spirit back into crypto, we need a
Mhm.
nice alt run, I think.
Absolutely. All right. Okay. Wendy, your thoughts on that? Do you think we're gonna have the same old kind of runs that we had, or is it gonna be less so because
No,
less liquidity?
I think some coins will run like they have been. We've seen some good runs that just go boom, 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 boom. But they didn't used to just go 100% up and then 100% down in these big red candles. So if they give, then they take away. It's not like it used to be. And nothing is like it used to be. Everything changes. But now we have so many more coins. I mean, look at all of the tokens, the memes, the DeFi, the oh my gosh, tokens everywhere. So with that, the liquidity spread out as well. So lots of people are in where they were combined to a select number of coins, a few hundred. Now we've got thousands. So they're not going to I don't think pump like they used to, but I'd be interested to hear what Marius has to say on that. But that's my opinion. You asked me mine.
Yep, absolutely. I think those wicks and those kind of pumps and sudden reversals are going to be due to liquidity, but less liquidity. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Vicky, on that?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, actually, even I think at the end of last year, middle last year, about how the liquidity is being spread out and the coins that used to run are kind of being overlooked. It's almost like it's either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or it's all the little ones. Like they kind of skip over some of the mid caps now that used to run. And I think that probably at the moment, in my opinion, will be the trend because everyone is just so exhausted in this market that they need to make money, so they're jumping on the little ones that are running instead of waiting for the Solanas or the Jasmines or the all those kind of coins to run. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I I have no idea what's going to happen. I think that we are going to see a slight resurgence. I'm looking at, back when the initial US elections took place, and, because President Trump came in very pro crypto, and we had these great runs, 200%, 300% runs from, some of the old OGs, some of those mid to large caps. And then, yeah, Bitcoin kept on doing its thing, but then the liquidity left and it was going into ETFs for Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, and everything else. And we saw liquidity exit out of those alts initially from that run and never really recover. So I have no idea what's going to happen. Like Marcel, I kind of feeling cautiously optimistic and hopeful, I guess. But hopeful and hopium doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't
No.
allow us to trade in what, the new strategy of trading what we're actually seeing, and putting, capital into those versus potentials. Yeah, I think we just need to shift mindsets really around that. I don't know if you guys agree with all of that or anybody else has an opinion on that. Nope. All
Yeah,
right.
I think.
Go
Oops,
for it.
sorry, go ahead. No,
No, no.
no, no. I think that's kind of brings back the question that we posed right at the beginning of the call: is Bitcoin still king, or are the
Mm,
alts and the utility chains going to dominate? And I'd like to hear. There's a Q&A section for everyone that's new on the call. There is a Q&A section. We don't use the chat on these calls, but we do use the Q&A section down below, possibly because Zoom has changed. So I don't have the Q&A section anymore. Where's the Q&A
it
section
is there.
gone?
Click on
Okay.
more.
So, thank goodness John's here. So everyone on the call, I want to pose a question to you. Do you think Bitcoin is still king? And do you think the market will follow Bitcoin? Or do you think
Mm,
that, the altcoins and the utility coins will start to dominate? Because Bitcoin for a long time, and there's two sides to the argument. Bitcoin has been the really truly only decentralized, scarce, secure digital asset
mm,
for so long. And that's
mm.
really why it was created. And it's achieved this, well, they call it digital gold, I suppose. It's a pure store of value.
Yeah.
Yes, you can launch coins on the chain, but really it was created for that, as opposed to some of the other coins that are created
Mhm.
with the utilities. And so, yeah, I'd like to hear from everyone on the call. Do you think Bitcoin's still king, or do you think the alts are going to start dominating?
Yeah, and by also, I mean, you're not talking about like Bananas 31. You're talking more about the alternate coins like Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, that kind of thing, I presume. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, while we're waiting for everybody, if you guys can find the Q&A section on
Because I
Zoom.
can't.
Okay, well, I've got it
That's
up
so
there. I can see. I'll direct
okay.
questions. But yeah, for the rest of the panel, do you guys do you agree? Wendy, Mars, Marcel, do you guys think that Bitcoin is still going to be king, or do we going to start to see some of the other large caps altcoins become more dominant? Anyone?
I just spoke to someone the other day that asked me about Bitcoin, and he
Mm.
basically said to me, "But what does Bitcoin do?" And I tried to explain store of value to him, but
Yeah.
he just basically replied and said, "So it doesn't really do much." So apart from being like digital gold, like Vicky mentioned, so
Yeah.
I think the opinion out there, the people that weren't into crypto from the start, they see more value in and utility in some of the other coins.
Okay. All right. Interesting. When are your thoughts, Marius? Sorry, Marius, you're unmuted. Go for it, sir.
Well, Bitcoin will always be the standard. We have to
Mhm.
remember that it's not going to go away because it's now become a financial institution and money. And you look
Mhm.
at, for example, in Australia that just announced that the entire super fund of Australians from next year can buy Bitcoin.
Oh,
And this
wow.
is happening all across the world. Now they're not doing it with any other coin. But the key is here, we want to make money. Is Bitcoin the best coin to hold to make profit for you over the next year? No, there's
Mhm.
better coins. Like
Mhm.
there's, for example, coins that you can hold that will explode in value, which is going to be, for example, XRP is going to make thousands of percent.
Sure.
But put in that class as well, XLM.
Okay.
And I'll
Amazing.
mention it on the call. Yeah, there's 5 coins really that you need to start building over the next 5 years. And I think we need to look at 5 years now. But remember, it's going to be like a hump. The market will go up on a hill, and that's where the bull cycle is going to be. And in that bull cycle, everybody's going to make money, but Bitcoin will still be the king. But it's about what coin is going to make the most profit. And then you need to segment them now from the top coins. Which are the top coins? Which are the mid-tier coins? Which are the lower coins that we hold? And then you get down to your DeFi coins. And for that, this is what we do. This is what you guys do in Hodlnots. You teach and train people
Mhm.
to make up their own minds which coins they hold. But I can tell you what, I'm loading up on XRP, XLM, ADA, HBAR, XDC, IOTA, MyOTA, and Quant as an example.
Okay. All
Those
right.
are good, solid coins that you can build long term. And then, I call them my golden coins. And then you have a silver group of coins, and then you have a bronze coins, and then you hold a few coins on the bottom. But
Okay.
to come back to your question, Bitcoin will always be the king, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is
Mm.
interesting because, like you're saying, it's become one of the safe havens, the safer assets. It's always been gold and silver, and a couple of stocks, but, Bitcoin, despite, the geopolitical turmoil, the wars, Bitcoin does react, but not as hectically as the S&P 500 and a few other things. And, with Bitcoin ETFs mostly being in the spotlight, I mean, look at BlackRock and everybody else, and also now with the self-managed super funds in Australia with access to it. I mean, one of our attendees, Harry, thanks for this, does expect that Bitcoin will remain king, but some or utility coins with great use cases will be taking a bigger share. All right. Besides all the
Mm.
other coins, I'm not going to use that word. They may run up down the side, taking people's money. Yeah, we're going to see meme coins and all these others are going to be taking away from the general liquidity pool. But interesting that we will start to see, hopefully, some of the other utility coins taking a bigger piece of the pie. Wendy, your thoughts on that?
Oh, I just love I love all the little coins. I mean, for favorite, because we scalp traders and scalp traders need all these coins that run sporadically. There's always a coin running either direction, up or down or sideways. We just don't really like them when they run sideways, but Bitcoin has always been the driver and everything follows along Bitcoin until now.
But
And
mm,
now we have all these other coins running. And that to me makes trading fun. And there's always
sure.
something to trade. So I like
Absolutely.
the alts.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. I mean, when I say back in the day, I'm talking like 2 years ago, it seemed that 99% of coins would follow Bitcoin's general direction, right?
Yes.
Right? But in the last
Mm,
2 years, we've
correct.
seen this, and, especially with the HODL fire and the calls we do and stuff, there are a number of coins both on Mexi and on Binance. I'm looking right now at the charts. There's a coin called VVV that's just been doing its own thing. It's super strong uptrend on the day. It has
Great.
been for months now. You look at obviously some of the privacy coins started to rear their head again, but other coins like Dexy and even whether it be ONT renders on the way back. There's new coins like Open Bananas 31, which is a meme coin based on CZ's cat. There are a bunch of coins, more and more so these days, that just continue to do their own thing, irrespective of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's
Yeah.
still king, but maybe less of the king than before. I don't know.
Well, for me, honestly, John, it's we have these groupings of coins that just get introduced from time to time, and this is what makes it so much fun to trade. Is because when these newer coins start getting introduced, you just pop on them, and you could make some additional income. It's like, now we've got the Trump, the Magna, the Melania coin. We've got, and they run for a period of time. And then we had the football token coins. And then when the football games were on, the football tokens would run and they would make them run. And they were outside of Bitcoin. So it just, to me, it makes trading a lot more possible to make income when you are looking at coins that are going up and down outside of Bitcoin.
Sure, absolutely.
But it's just like you said, most of them in the past were all going with Bitcoin. So you just pick one and they were all about the same. And now it's different coins all the time.
Sure, absolutely.
Another thing we need to keep in mind, John, is now the institutions getting more and more into crypto. Are they buying Bitcoin or are they buying altcoin?
Yeah. And we talked about this too, because are they going to save or ruin crypto? So that's a good question, Marcel.
Well, it brings about the big question. Sorry, Baja, go ahead.
No, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, we've spoken about this before. You guys have heard of the BlackRock paradox. Is that while the institutions are offering people the opportunity to get involved with ETFs, obviously not holding the token itself, but with more and more of these institutions, whether it be Metaplanet, Strategy, BlackRock, etc., as they start to hold more and more of these decentralized cryptocurrencies, they're holding more and they have more control in terms of, like these large institutions in Japan that own millions and millions of tons of tuna, and they can actually dictate the market price. Same with like the Russians or the Iranians, with oil, etc. But is it truly still decentralized? If again, if BlackRock is offering people options for spot ETFs, not for Bitcoin, but these other old coins, but they're holding more and more of the shares. It's the same like if you're a whale, right, in a little meme coin, right? Or there are a couple of whales in a little meme coin that's on Mexi or wherever it is. Is it still decentralized if a handful of whales own 95 or control 95% of that meme coin? Is it still decentralized? So,
and that's the question that's being posed at the moment. And we talked about that actually probably in the middle of the year last year about all of these institutions buying crypto does give it legitimacy in the public eye. So it makes more people understand that it's not just this fringe trading, and especially with the Bitcoin ETFs, people can get in on them without even knowing how to trade, really. They've injected a massive amount of liquidity into the market as well, and it does stabilize it a little bit. The flip side of that, though, is what people are worried about, that are the crypto, like we saw at Bitcoin in Las Vegas, the crypto naturalists, let's say, because it is a loss of sovereignty. Because Bitcoin was created to be decentralized and no one owns it, and for the people. And with all of these big institutions buying it, is it decentralized? Is crypto now just becoming, well, what they call TradeFi, which is traditional finance, that is just kind of another traditional finance, because now you have to KYC and you have to sign anti-money laundering and you have to, as you said, I don't know, they don't own a lot of, really, they don't have a lot of Bitcoin, but they're getting there. So yeah, that's the question that people are asking, really. So it is a good question.
Yeah, that's exactly what Harry's mentioning. That's exactly what we're talking about. Bitcoin, if a few hands or governments or institutions are holding Bitcoin, I mean, really, is it still decentralized? Quickly, before we carry on with that, spot competition very quickly. You guys have got 25 minutes. Drop a question in the Q&A section, all right, to stand the chance of winning a one-on-one session either with Vicky or myself. So if you'd like to participate in that, you guys, or a whole bunch of you, you have an opportunity. 25, ask any particular question around that you think might be interesting around the cryptocurrency market and the state of affairs there. We'll let you know around that. Okay. Wendy, sorry, did you have any thoughts on this for the topic, or we can jump in the next one?
No, jump into the next one. That's good. You covered it well.
Well, that's everybody's opinion. Anybody else have anything to say on that? No? All right. Okay, so we were researching a whole bunch of very interesting questions, and we probably need about 5 hours to get through all of them. Marcel, throw us a doozy. Let's hear. Put it to us.
I don't know your slang terms. John?
Uh,
What
Do see.
do you mean?
it's a river
Curly.
in somewhere in South Africa, but other than that, no, you know what I mean.
With the institutional adoption and more of mainstream people getting into it, there are quite a few questions to ask about that, like regulation. Does regulation make crypto stronger, or is it actually killing it? Which is kind of the same topic, because as governments are legitimizing crypto and regulating it to protect users and unlocking some larger scale participation from mainstream investors and institutions, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is regulated crypto even crypto the way it's designed? And that's really very topical at the moment because of the Clarity Act in the US, which is a whisker away of getting passed, apparently. So yeah, what does everyone think about that?
Wendy, Marcel?
Oh, I'll jump in there. I think it's good and bad. You have to realize that if you're going to take cryptocurrency and you're going to turn it into a security, if you're going to want it to be used as money, while we all want it to be decentralized money, there is some form of regulation that has to be done. Not necessarily by the banks, but the everybody's afraid of crypto because of the dark web stuff. And it's the funniest thing to me, because it's like people say, well, I'm not getting in crypto because of the fact that it's used for drug laundering money and it's used for criminal activities and things. And I'm like, but regular money is too. So it's like, just because it's crypto doesn't mean that it's hidden money somewhere. So people use different things all the time for bartering and trading. They use the US dollar all the time, so they just print some more of it. It's just one of those things that regulation is both good and bad. It's bad for us just because of the fact that we really wanted to break away. We wanted a form of, being able to use money without having to use the banks and being tied into the governments and all of that. But when it becomes regulated, then you've got all the taxation on it. And this is what's scaring people away from the crypto as well, is because they're threatening. I mean, it's threatening stuff on how if you don't get all your taxes right, and for every trade that you make, and it's just keeping people from enjoying and having a viable way of making income. It's just like anything else. You work really hard for your money and then they want 40% when it never used to be that way. But that's my 2 cents.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll throw my 2 cents in. I think regulation is important so that there is a
Hmm.
good framework. And when there's good framework and regulations and laws around it, people, the general public who have a lot of fear and trepidation around crypto, they feel a lot more secure because there is regulation. And I think being taxed is important.
Hmm.
It is
Yeah.
another tradable asset. It's another commodity, and there's no getting out of it. My humble opinion. I think it is the right thing to do, but I think framework and regulations are important. There was a period of time, I mean, you guys been around 10 years in the industry plus, plenty of opportunity to have ridden all those waves and stuff. And unfortunately, now we have to be paying a tax on it, but I think it's a good thing. Marcel?
Uh, I've got mixed feelings about it. But like when you mentioned with the government control and the regulation, what do you guys think is going to happen with stablecoins? Do you think stablecoins will eventually become our digital banks?
Mm.
Or do you think stablecoins are going to be killed off by governments? What do you think is going to happen?
Vicky?
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because PayPal just came out. They have their own stable coin, and PayPal has just released that stable coin to 70 new markets, I think I read this week. So yeah, stable coins, we've heard that more and more stable coins are being adopted for payment. They're faster, they're cheaper than the regular finance. So I think, what was the question, Marcel? Something, what did you say?
Wow.
No, I think you're
I went off.
along the right path. Thing is, I
Mm.
think with stablecoins, it will give like global access to payments. Where I know some of the countries in Africa, their banks don't have any
Mhm.
digital system at all.
Mm.
So we see a lot of these African people, the kids go off overseas to study, and that's a way for them to
Yep.
just do a simple thing like send money home.
Mm.
Whereas before that, there wasn't any systems for that. So I think
Yeah, and they can.
there's definitely a growing trend on the use of stablecoins as a banking system.
And like you just said, anyone can use it with just a phone and the internet. They don't need
Yeah,
a bank account with documentation. There's a lot of undocumented people in the world that can't open a bank account. And stable coins, as I mentioned, they're faster. They don't rely on things like Swift codes, and they don't settle in days. They settle in instantly across the world. So they definitely have their day, and also a lot of banks are adopting them as well as other companies, as we've seen. The other thing, I guess, the stablecoin, though, although as Wendy said before, stablecoins are risky because they have to be backed, or they should be backed one to one by a asset.
Mhm.
And as we've seen, Luna depegged, bloop, so the stablecoin that people use have to be stable. But then again, so does the US dollar. So,
Mm.
so this, again, for and against everything. Personal opinion, I think stable coins and the payment systems in which they provide are a good thing for the world, especially developing countries.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing MasterCard now. It's
Mm.
partner now with more than 100. It was, I think, 80 or so a few days ago, and they're increasing that more and more as well. Stablecoins definitely the way of the future, and I think with the Clarity Act, hopefully
Mm.
being approved. Obviously, a lot of the banks are worried that there's potential flight risk, well, as in capital capital flight. People because they're not getting much yield in terms of the capital there, and they'd rather be earning or getting some sort of yield from stablecoins. So it's an interesting time. I think it's definitely relevant. One of the questions that's come in. Interesting. All right, we'll have a look at XRP shortly. Thanks for the question there, Deborah. Nice to have you back. Always good to diversify. Thanks, Harry.
Mm.
How to look at trading on one or two crypto platforms only. Also, what happens if the lights go out, even for some limited time, and there's no access to whatsoever? What would be a good practical approach to address this responsibly and be prepared for what may come? Maybe it is a bigger issue. So we're talking about, like global access being limited to one or two crypto platforms only, i.e., say a Binance and Mexi, versus should you diversify across a Coinbase and a Binance and a Mexi and a KuCoin and have your things spread around? It's an interesting thing because what happens, yeah, if we don't have access for some time? Is it then, do you rather just keep everything in cold wallets? But even if everything is in cold wallets and you don't have access to exchanges, what good is that going to do, right? So that is an interesting one. Anybody have any opinions on that? Should we diversify across more than two platforms?
I think you should have digital gold and real gold. That's what I
Says the man who's up north, with his gold in abundance, right?
Mm.
Okay, interesting. So real assets, real life assets. Wendy, thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on that.
Okay.
I don't have any thoughts on that.
Okay. All right.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
Don't know.
Okay. Vicky, thoughts in terms of, if there is these potential things that might happen?
Oh, I definitely think you should diversify into other things. And, as Marcel just said, real physical things, crypto, gold, silver, real estate. I really think you should, if you can, diversify into everything you possibly can, because you never know. Harry's point is good. What if the lights go out? Then we're using sticks. Maybe we should gather sticks and rocks again in our
Yeah,
garden.
I mean, as far as it's
So
with crypto, yeah, I mean, but crypto, it's the what if. There's risk in everything. There's risk in, if you buy a piece of property and it floods, you lose it. If you don't have insurance on something and the house goes up on fire, I mean, it's with crypto, you don't know, but yeah, you have to be concerned about those things. So Harry does have a good question. because with the war going on and everything else, and if we do all lose our power and we lose all the access to the exchanges, I don't know, Marius, what are your thoughts on that? You're into those world event things. Um, I don't know. I try not to
Well,
think about
it's
them
like
too much.
everybody's saying here, no, we have to diversify. You cannot not diversify. Physical gold,
Mm.
digital gold. Saw how difficult it was now for people, and I've been warning people, and I said, do not rely just on physical. You have to have the other means as well to get rid of, like, for example, paper money, paper gold. Look at people when gold hit 5,000, they tried to sell the gold, they couldn't get it sold. Okay. Australia, for example, New Zealand as an example. It doesn't mean you're going to get it sold. But then also, I think you had a question there about should we be on one or two exchanges?
Yeah.
Again, diversify. And
Yep.
Vicky mentioned that. Vicky said, diversify.
Mm.
Have this exchange, that exchange, that exchange. I cannot tell you how many times I've been blocked on exchanges. As soon as you go to, let's say, like 100, 200,000, 300,000, and everybody here is going to make some money here. It's about your portfolio. If you have 10,000 now and you get to 200,000, the exchange is going to block you. So what will happen is that's going to, let's say when you get to a certain crypto and you now want to sell that crypto, the exchange is going to block you and say, but listen, you need to do KYC. In the meantime, the price comes down and they're going to then ask you, where did you get the money from? Stupid questions.
Yep.
Okay. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to split your money up as you make money to different exchanges. Get it done now. Don't wait, guys. Get it done now while the market is quiet and make sure you've got all your KYC done with everybody and follow the law and have documentation ready because they can ask you, where did you get the money from? Now, remember, you get it from your work, you get it from savings. So prepare the documentation. And then it's a question of just diversifying.
Mm.
Vicky
Absolutely.
said that.
Yep, perfect. I agree, guys. As well as, if you guys are in the DeFi space as well, you'll have a MetaMask, a Trust wallet, whatever it may be. Whether you're holding coins, through whatever of the dexes as well, and let alone you're centralized as well. But yeah, physical entities diversify. As with any sort of I'm not a financial advisor, but financial advice being always diversify, and if you can. Right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure that you have funds spread around. Also, if you're holding stuff long term, make sure that you're using cold wallets if you have access to those as well. Now, there's a question that's come in. I have no idea where XRP might go. We're currently trading what we're seeing, and I mean there's some insanely good support for XRP at the moment, around $1.34, $1.25, $1.14. The question was, might it go down to 80 cents? Well, we don't know. I don't know enough about XRP and its affiliation to a lot of governments and other institutions as well. So unfortunately, can't be able to answer that kind of question, and especially when it comes to the war. I mean, is there a direct correlation between XRP and the war? I have no idea. I don't think the Iranians or the Americans necessarily are utilizing that as much. I know that there was talk a while back about onboarding a whole bunch of tokens that had originated from the States. XRP was one of them. And then one of the other questions, also, Deborah, a really great question, and this is the same kind of ties in with Harry, is that we have a lot of global exchanges, and we know about the FTX global exchange, having collapsed. The likelihood of something like Binance collapsing is very unlikely. But when you go down to each individual countries, like CoinSpot and Oz, or if you could talk about Luno, Valar, or Altcoin Trader in South Africa, in terms of the trustworthiness, I mean, again, they're really large entities, and something like Luno is very much accredited within South Africa, and according to SARS as well, the South African Revenue Service. I would say so. But again, there's always risk to your point, Deborah, and you basically answered it. There's always risk leaving coins on any exchange. A global international exchange such as Binance, again, just because it is the biggest, but you look at any other ones, Coinbase as an example, is that sure, maybe they're a bit better. Would you leave them on something like a South African exchange? There's nothing wrong with them, and then they are large in their own rights. But again, diversify. I wouldn't necessarily put all my eggs in one basket and leave it only in Valor as example. I would again bring spread it around. So hopefully, thanks for those questions, Deborah. And again, we can't really answer as to where XRP might go. We're trading what we're seeing. I mean, Morris obviously has a lot more insight as to the long-term positioning of this. But as for the first week of April, I don't think I can answer that. Currently, it looks to be going sideways, and it follows Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts moving, Solana, Ethereum, all of these are going to start moving just as much. If Bitcoin does break down below and revisits 60,000 or below, obviously a lot of these other large caps and medium caps are going to probably follow suit as well. Great questions. Very, very cool. Yeah, speaking of, so yeah, guys, last couple of minutes for you to drop in other questions that you might have for the panel. But yeah, anybody else have, I mean, there's so many great debates here. Like, would you go all in on Bitcoin or Ethereum? I mean, ooh, lots of interesting talk around Ethereum these days as well. But Marcel, bringing that the soapbox back over to you, where you get an opportunity to post a question to the panel. Let's hear it.
I think we spoke about the digital gold and the real gold. What are you guys' opinion about tokenized assets, like real assets that's being tokenized, like owning a slice of a property or something like that? Should we look into tokenizing real estate? Is it safe to do so? What's the opinion there?
Well, we're talking about RWAs, real world assets, right?
Or is it a little bit left field? Yeah.
Hmm.
So like
It-
so you're talking about like how they are buying a physical building and
Yeah.
they're cutting it up into little bits, and each bit is worth so much, and it's like actually you buy it as a crypto. Is that what
Exactly.
you're talking about? Yeah. It's interesting because that is a way to own property, but again, there's two sides to every argument. But one of the reasons I think we all like crypto is because of its volatility and the ups and downs of crypto and trading crypto. And I think when you tokenize a real world asset like, say, real estate, it actually becomes a little bit more stable. But that is a way to get into it.
You're not taking a game farm to the moon.
Mm.
But it might invite people that would otherwise not invest in real estate to be able to own a small part of something. Typically, like, I mean, there's loads of people that can't afford a Bitcoin, but they can afford a slice of it.
Yeah.
So maybe I get the volatility thing, and I completely agree, but maybe it just gives that opportunity for people that would normally not invest in those assets.
Okay.
And that's true, because I think it probably would depend on who you are and your end game, really. Are you investing as an investment, or are you trading as a trader? And that the question of, would you rather hold 0.01 of a Bitcoin, or would you rather hold the equivalent in a physical farm? And it probably depends on who you are and what your goals are.
Absolutely. Wendy, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like ETFs, EFTs. It's like, the electronically things that are, you don't really own the Bitcoin, but you own a part of it. You be part of a fund. I have mixed feelings about it. It's just because it's like you don't own the physical asset, but you own a piece of it. But if it goes up in value, it's like if you have a piece of property and then the property goes up in value, and as long as you can sell your share or your tokens of it, or your portions of tokens, it could be a viable way to do investing. But it's the ownership thing that I have, and the volatility. Would it be tradable? I don't know enough about it to really have a educated comment about it, but it's, I wasn't really big on the ETF, so it's like,
Yeah. Okay. It is interesting because I
I'd
kind of
rather own the Bitcoin than a part of somebody else's Bitcoin. or not really even a part of somebody else's Bitcoin, but a part of the price that might, it's against the price value of it. So if you tokenize it, do you actually own a part of it as opposed to just the value of it with the token and the volatility going up and down?
Yeah, I
I don't know
mean,
how all that would work.
yeah, true. I mean, back to Marcel's question. I mean, in terms of, Vicky's derivative of that was that I think owning zero point 0.1 of a Bitcoin or having a slice of a pie, it's kind of like Marcel, you're my property, right? Into my tokenizing real world assets. It's kind of like timeshare. When it was back a
Yeah.
thing, you wanted to go
Hmm.
Yeah,
on
it
vacation, you don't
is.
want to buy a holiday home, but you would share with a bunch of people. You get 2 weeks in the year, split into weeks each or whatever it is. And that, if you get a slice of that pie and you can tokenize it and you can purchase it with crypto versus actual money, like as in traditional finance, then sure, I think there's validity there. And then again, it also speaks to that diversification of your portfolio in a way. If instead of owning actual stocks in something or owning actual silver that you have in a vault or whatever it is, this is part of the diversification. So I think there's an opportunity for people to be able to diversify their portfolios with RWAs, real world assets, and the tokenization of them. I think it's fairly smart. And again, from a payment solution, I know in Dubai as well. I mean, RWA is becoming a big thing, and you can actually purchase property with crypto. And because those actual properties have been tokenized, I think that's pretty good. Any more thoughts on that?
I think that's a great
Yeah.
analogy using the timeshare analogy.
Mm,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
Agree.
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's people that would normally not be able to afford a holiday home. They can have a week in a year. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is basically it's just more adoption. There's people that might
Hmm.
start getting into crypto for
mm,
small things like this, and
mm.
obviously, adoption is on in everyone's in crypto's favor. If the more adoption we get, the better for all of us.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Well, one of the really interesting points, and this is a really great question. Thank you again, Deborah, and some pearlers here. So we've mentioned the Hodlnots weekly warm-ups, a lot in like the States, and I can't remember where else, but I remember talking about them, is that in terms of mortgages for like in the States, you can actually borrow against your crypto in terms of taking out mortgages. So it's almost like a security, as in, sorry, surety, not security. So it's almost like surety in a way. And then the question is, from Deborah, is in your opinion, is borrowing against your crypto to purchase physical properties a good idea? All right, so guys, think about that quickly. Is borrowing crypto against your crypto, so the crypto acts as surety, to purchase actual physical property is a good idea. So it's different to a tokenization of a real world asset. So you keep your digital property to buy physical property. All right. So you keep your crypto to buy physical property for rental purposes. So you rent out the physical property that you purchase. So you keep all the income generating assets rather than buying physical property with profits from crypto. You rather reinvest the crypto profits and borrow again. So as you getting rental coming in, and then you keep on borrowing and borrowing against. So, for instance, your crypto is earning, and then you purchase real property and you get rental income from that. It is interesting. Do you guys think it's a good idea going forward that in terms of mortgages that we could, if, for instance, you hold Bitcoin, you use that as surety and borrowing against that for actual real life physical properties? It's kind of like diversifying your portfolio. What are your thoughts on that, guys? You think it's a good idea, or is it too risky?
I think a lot of that has to do with what country that you live in and its tax laws, because depending on how the country views crypto will have a big impact on whether that's going to work for someone or not. Because there are a lot of, in Australia, there are a lot of laws around owning property and how you can use that property to defer your tax and so on and so
Mm,
forth. And throw crypto in the mix, you would have to have quite a good understanding of how crypto works in your country, how it's
sure,
classified. I
absolutely.
think, yeah,
Sure, but imagine every
before we
country
get
in the
answer
world
that
you have that like
question.
the States do. Wendy, would you borrow against your crypto holdings and purchase real life property? Do you think that's a good idea?
It would be different I mean, I was just thinking about that scenario. It's kind of like, well, way back when, let's go back 5 years, and let's just say you bought 5 Bitcoin with $10,000. Let's just say you bought Bitcoin at $2,000 a piece and then you
Mm,
locked it up. Well,
mm,
it would be good for you if you were in the right crypto
mm,
and you were, borrowing against it. Maybe I bought some property and I was able to work that property, but I want to make darn sure that I don't miss a lick on my notes because if I do, I won't get my 5 Bitcoin back. And Bitcoin went up in value massively.
mm,
I want to make sure I get my Bitcoin back. They don't renege on giving me my loaned asset back. But on the other hand, if you had a whole bunch of some crypto that went down the tubes, um, it could be in your favor. So yeah, mixed feelings about that, just depending on the crypto that was used.
okay, good. Badger, any thoughts on that?
Well, I agree. If you don't sell your crypto, you're obviously in the mix
Mm,
to catch the runs, but you're also in the mix to get liquidated. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can't
It's
trade it.
it's it's,
You
it's
can't trade
fairly
it. They
risky.
have it. Yeah.
Exactly, it's fairly risky. Um, yeah, it's like yeah, I think it's a little bit risky, but if you time it right and you've got the right asset or the right token,
mm.
you can
Hmm.
basically make profit and get a free house. So I think
Yes.
it depends on, and if you, Vicky, to your point with the taxation, I suppose it does depend on where you are. But if you're not selling anything, do you? I mean, like in getting capital gains,
Yeah.
should there be a tax if you don't sell anything? I don't know.
Well, we're taxed on everything here in Australia, so I'll say yes to
Yes,
that.
yes,
Maybe not over
yes.
there. So, in most countries, if they can tax you,
Okay,
they will. So,
fair enough, fair enough.
yeah, no, to your point, that's true. It's
Well,
There's a tax
interesting.
coming in Australia that when you walk your dog, you're going to have a license now. No, honestly, it's not a joke.
Yeah,
what?
he's not kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not kidding.
yeah,
It's coming.
Oh no,
yeah,
oh no, that is
yeah.
ridiculous. Wow. Okay. I
Mm.
mean, yeah, listen, I mean, we know that property values around the world obviously going up, and I know Morris, you've touched on it in the past as well in terms of doubling, tripling, there will be a bit of a crunch. But interesting, what was that? Sorry, I was just reading Harry's comments there. It's saying arrangements will probably be against the value of the crypto to anticipate fluctuations and only for a certain percentage of your crypto holdings only. Yeah, so not necessarily XBTC. I'm trying to understand what that means, but yeah, I mean, sure, you're going to get taxed on everything, but I think if you are holding Bitcoin for the long term and it's suddenly gaining value, sure, hopefully, but you're able to borrow against it. I don't think it's a bad thing, but every country's taxation and
Hmm.
regulations are going to be different. Um, really good question. Really, really good question. All
The
right.
problem, John, is just the
Yeah.
amount of percentage that these people are charging us.
Mm.
Like if you take 100,000 of cryptos you want to go and borrow, these companies are now charging 10, 11, 12, 15%.
Wow.
I mean, it's just atrocious. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable really for us. So
No.
therefore, I've come back to the conclusion and I'm saying to myself, like, right, how am I going to make money?
Mm.
Find good quality coins,
Mm.
join a good quality team that can teach and train you,
Yep.
and live with that basic principle and make your money first.
I think that's definitely a good option, and I think if people have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and they want to do that, again, there might be percentages that you're paying, against the Bitcoin. Bitcoin moving 10, 12%. It has to be really going quite nicely to be able to do that versus something else. If you could borrow against something like Solana, where the percentage gains would be negligible or less of an issue. But yeah, again, I think every country is different. These are great questions, guys. Speaking of, let's hear one last question. Vicky, Marcel, Wendy, one last debated question. And then we're going to announce the winner of that one-on-one with Vicky or myself as well. So bring on a doozy and sorry, bring on a real curveball. There we go. Is that simpler, Vicky, Marcel?
Ooh,
Yes.
okay.
One last question.
There was We did a story. Oh, I can't remember who it was. Came out and said that crypto was. Oh, it was Boris Johnson. So Boris Johnson came out and said crypto's a Ponzi scheme. And so my question is, and this is a question we get asked a lot, are we still, let's say, early, or are we actually being exit liquidity for the early adopters if we join now? So, and what I mean by that is it a Ponzi scheme? Are the people coming in now actually providing the liquidity for people that got in early to get out, or are we still early? That's my question, because Boris thinks it's a Ponzi scheme, and a lot of people came out and said, nope, it isn't. But yeah, what does everyone think about that? In our studio audience as well, please.
Sure, that's an interesting concept. Are the newcomers coming into the crypto space providing the liquidity for the OGs to get out? Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, if they got in with $2,000 or $10,000 back in the day with Bitcoin and they wanted to get out, in profits, it's going to be a couple of million. Are the new institutions coming in with their millions providing the liquidity, or is, you and I providing? That's an interesting one. Wendy, thoughts?
It's hard to say because of the fact that there's so much over-the-counter trading. OTC trading is really the culprit of all of it, because it's like, you see all of these, or you hear in the news where all these people are buying these big wallets, or trading and selling or buying Bitcoin, and yet the price doesn't move at all. So it's like whenever you have this over-the-counter trading going around, it's very hard to determine where the viability is in the future. But at the same time, everything's going to blockchain. All of the financial institutions are having to adapt to the crypto world. So I think it's around to stay for sure. I mean, you've got USA, and like they're passing laws now on the crypto itself. There's all the big institutions are now, it's in their investment funds, with the different cryptos and things. So it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's definitely going to be around for a while to trade. It's just getting more and more regulated is the issue, and people are having to make laws around how to do the crypto properly, and how to get their hands on it, and how to get their piece of the pie out of it. So the early adopters, we got in early, knowing that it was going to be around for a long time, or at least hoping it would be. And I think it's just a really good way to make a living is trading. And now there's so many more coins and companies that are involved in tokenizing everything that I just think being trained and educated, it's like anything else, like with AI. If you don't jump on the bandwagon, you get left behind. So that's my opinion.
Okay, good. So I think we're still early. That's my opinion. Marius,
Early.
you're unmuted there.
I would say that cryptocurrencies is not a Ponzi scheme, but we have to understand that under cryptocurrencies, there are a project here and there. That is for sure a Ponzi scheme. So we mustn't apply the word Ponzi scheme to the entire cryptocurrency base. A Ponzi scheme is where people apply a price and say that if you buy this project, you can make $1 million. So if you look at Ethereum and Bitcoin, for example, John, nobody promises you a return on Bitcoin and Ethereum because Bitcoin and Ethereum is designed as a payment method. But we as humans have started to attach a price to Bitcoin. Hey, Bitcoin has gone up from 5,000 to 20,000. Now we see that can happen, and this is why we buy it. So we put that expectation there ourselves. But the problem is all these bad actors that live in all sorts of parts of the world, they create these what we call rug pulls. Those are the real Ponzi schemes. And it's only through communities that we work, like Hodlnots, through our training and education, that we understand when a project is a Ponzi scheme. Those projects, we avoid them, and we keep on going with projects that provide utility.
Absolutely. Definitely. All right. Good thoughts on that. I still believe we're super early. on that as well. Just one last comment there from Peter. Borrowing against your crypto to purchase townhouses is the best idea, as well as buying gold and silver. All right, I'm presuming this is talking about the diversification of things as well. Good points. Really, really good. Thank you for that great question as well. Yeah, so thank you, Vicky. Now, in terms of wrapping up, we're saving the best for last because we are talking about training education, but we are going to be talking about something we haven't done in about 3 months. And obviously, it's been really a scalp traders market. Definitely, being able to get in and out quickly myself. So, what has been happening in the den in terms of grabs? Because coins been pumping left, right, and center, up and down. As to what Wendy said as well, we should even do a huddle fire wrap up because we don't cheat some of the trades. But let's hear what's been happening in the den the last little while.
Thanks, John. So yes, we now have a quarterly den review on our hands. So I just took a couple of the trades and then and added onto this graphic. So we can have a look. There was a 38% on Pixel. Pixel ran quite well for a short while. So I think there was another Pixel one in here. There was a 13% scalp on Pixel. There's a couple of high teens, like 18, 12%, another 12% on different coins. There was a 13%, a 10%. So yeah, like I always say, whatever the market, we always find a way to scalp some profits in the Hodlnots den.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. I mean, and that's just going on all the time. Just having a quick look at the markets. There are plenty of coins that are currently just running beautifully. And some of the ones that we've been trading for the last couple of days over in Hodl Fire as well, but those are still going lovely. But currently, I see C is having a nice little scalp run, and there are plenty of opportunities. So that's it. A quick punt is that the next Hodlnots foundational trading course, the live one, which we haven't done this year yet, also first one for the year, coming up soon. So we'll be posting more details around that as well. Of course, you guys can jump in on the self-paced course at any point. And for those of you looking to trade on the slightly higher time frames and want to just start trading, we do have Hodl Fire courses happening fairly regularly as well. So cool. So we had a whole bunch of really great questions, and obviously we could go on for hours, but we know it's late for some of you in the world, and this obviously will be put out on the socials once rendered. So thank you for the questions, not only to my panel, Marius, Wendy, Vicky, Marcel, really great questions, and we had a quick chat just around some of those questions, and we did say it was a contest. So the person getting a one-on-one session with either Vicky or myself is Deborah. Well done. Congratulations. So we'll be in touch with you. Great to have you back in the fold as well. We'll be reaching out and having a chat with you at some point. So congrats. That's awesome.
Yay.
Well done. All right. Good stuff. Any closing comments? Any closing remarks, Wendy? Marcel? I mean, Morrison.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to be back. I mean, it's been a while, so it's great to see everybody on the call as well. Great questions, team.
Very cool. Yeah, again, we do cover a lot of these topics in the Hodlnots weekly warm-up. We don't get into the debates as such, and that's what we save it for these calls, even if it is once a quarter. But yeah, definitely, Wendy, great to be back with us. Marcel, any closing comments, thoughts?
From my side, I'm all out of English.
All right.
Thanks everyone.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's typical, Marcel. Vicky?
Yeah, me too. No.
You're out of English as well. All right.
Yeah, I'm out of English.
Out
as
of
well.
English.
No.
We're all out of English.
I'll talk Australian from now on. But no, I think as scalpers especially, because we don't really care what we trade, with all due respect to the coins, I think the broader crypto market sometimes gets forgotten, and that's really why we wanted to do this, because it is good and nice to have an understanding of the market in which you are playing. So I hope everyone enjoyed the call and just gets you, thinking a little bit more about the broader market outside scalp trading.
Absolutely. Trade what you see. Marius, any last closing comments, or shall we call this a taco?
I just want to say to people, just be patient. I know we've been saying this over and over and over, and people go like, how longer must we be patient? But just be patient one more day, one more week.
One more day.
Let's see what the market does. As a matter of fact, remember, we don't have to wait for a bull cycle. It feels to me that everybody's waiting. When's the bull run going to happen? But the bull run's under our nose. Marcel just showed you 11%, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10% every day. So we're making money. So let's be happy with that money now. And I just want to say thank you for inviting me, and have a great day. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take it day by day, everybody. Trade what you see. I mean, obviously, we're all going to be, like Marcel, hopeful that things will turn around. And please always use a stop loss. Check your risk management. Make sure that the security around your tokens that you're holding, hopefully diversifying, guys. Please, there are lots of scams out there. Maybe even Ponzi schemes as well. Always do the research. Please look after yourselves. But we'll catch you guys on any of the other Bitcoin Tough calls this week, next month as well. And until then, trade safely and see you on the next call. Cheers, everyone.
Have a good
Thanks,
week.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Bye, guys.